staff or text the British Transport Police. On Cannon Street.
Might have just accidentally ended up getting a really good shot through this doorway looking out into the street. I was kind of just composing and trying to like set my exposure, and a guy walked straight through with an umbrella, and I think it looked sick. I think it's days like today I really wish that I had a smaller prime wide lens. I really like the 16 to 55 2.8 zoom lens, but it's just a big lens to carry around on the daily, so I'm shooting on the 23mm f2 today, but I think at the moment I just really want a wider lens. I think I need to get like the 18 f2 or the 18 f1.4 or something like that. I think at the moment I'm just kind of really leaning towards a wider field of view, and I think where I've ended up today in the Barbican is really kind of lending itself to a lot of kind of wide angle shots. Like, it's such a classic place to come and shoot for a reason. The brutalist architecture is beautiful and it's very angular, and I think in the rain it looks really good as well. Yeah, I feel like I need a wide lens. I mean, having said that, obviously yes, you can argue a 35mm equivalent field of view is still a wide lens, but I think like a super wide angle would be cool. I think this is probably a good example of what I'm talking about. Like, I just came around the corner and found this composition, and I think that the 23mm lens is just a little bit kind of tight for what I'm envisioning. Like, it would be cool to get a bit of this and that tower block in, but I think through the camera it's just not quite as wide as I'd want it to be. Like, the tower block's kind of getting cut off on the right. I mean, obviously I could just go like that, and that's still, actually, well, still quite a good composition. I mean, yeah, that looks cool. Maybe I just need to get used to shooting on the 23mm again. I have been using the 35mm as my primary lens for ages. But yeah, I just sort of feel like I need to scratch the itch of having more like a 28mm, 24mm equivalent field of view in a prime lens. So maybe I just need to go and buy one. Some pretty mad rain happening right now. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but like, you can kind of see the rain here, like, flying around in the wind. I don't know, it looks really cool. It looks weird, but it looks cool. It looks kind of like dystopian, apocalyptic vibes. I don't know. Maybe it's just rain. sure it would be very cool to live here, but it's such a massive estate and it's so confusing to walk around. I think every time I come here I end up just not really knowing where I am at all, kind of just wandering aimlessly, but it's kind of unbelievable how sprawling it is. But yeah, it's a very cool place to shoot. I think a day like today, shooting black and white lends itself really well to this kind of area, but also I've shot here when it's kind of really harsh sunlight and you do get some amazing kind of contrast and like, you know, light and shadow and stuff. So apples and oranges, I guess. So spring in London this year has been amazing. It's been really sunny, it's been really hot, and there's been amazing light for photography, but this is the first day that I've come out to just shoot some street stuff in ages, and for some reason the clouds and the rain have been what's inspired me to come out and shoot today, which is weird, but I think something about just coming out and shooting black and white was feeling really appealing to me. When it's sunny in London, it's kind of all that anyone talks about, but there's something really kind of homely about rainy, grey days. Maybe that's just because I grew up in Scotland where there was hardly ever any sun. I think I've just wanted to shoot a lot of black and white recently as well. I haven't really done that in quite a long time, and that feels really refreshing, especially on the X-T5, just to load up a black and white film sim and just fire off a load of JPEGs and not worry about editing and stuff feels really good as well. I have to remind myself that I live in London and it's such an amazing place to be, and it's such an unbelievable place for photography, and that's something that I think motivates me, even if I'm tired, even if I'm not really feeling like it. I think once I fire off a few frames, I find myself getting into that mindset of being like, right, you know, let's just see what I can create today. And honestly, I think some of my favourite photos from today already were the ones where I just stepped out of Cannon Street Station. I ended up getting some really cool kind of reflections on the pavement of, you know, people standing with umbrellas, and that's quite a classic kind of, I don't know, street photo idea, but you know, it was a good way to kind of warm up, get into shooting today. But yeah, the film that I'm shooting with on the X-T5 today is the Tri-X 400 film simulation from Fuji X Weekly. I find that if I shoot this film simulation at sort of a negative, maybe like negative 1/3 or negative 2/3 exposure compensation, it brings in a really nice contrast to the image. I think that works really well. I think having a really punchy JPEG that, you know, looks quite filmy is something that I feel quite comfortable shooting. And I guess that comes from, you know, I sort of learned photography shooting on film, and I used to shoot a lot of HP5 35mm black and white film on a variety of 35mm SLR cameras. This was a trick that I picked up from Matt Day sort of years and years ago, maybe honestly probably like 10 years ago, but I think he used to shoot a lot of his film at 1600 and then push process. So yeah, that's what I used to do. I used to shoot my film at 1600 ISO, even though Ilford HP5 has a box speed of 400 ISO, and that brought a really lovely kind of punch and grain and contrast into those negatives, and I would say that's definitely my favourite look for photography. And I think being able to have something similar on here, on this Fuji, makes going out to shoot really easy. And for ages as well, I used to kind of think, this was, you know, when I was a lot younger, I used to sort of think, oh, you know, a photo's only a good photo if it's shot on film, which obviously now I realise is completely wrong. But I used to, I used to not want to shoot digital photography at all, because I was kind of just like, I think mainly because I was like, you know, this works for me, this looks good. But I think there was also definitely a aspect of kind of shooting film where I was looking through kind of rose-tinted glasses and thinking that like the medium was also what made the photo good, which, as I say, is not the case. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is it's really cool to have a film simulation in the X-T5 that's just ready to go, that I can pick up and go and shoot at a moment's notice and get that kind of film-ish look that I was so used to having back in the day. I did just come across a really cool play park, which you sort of look down to from one of those walkways in the Barbican, and I think what I was saying earlier about wanting to have a wider lens, would have made that scene a little bit easier to shoot, because you would have been able to get more of the ground in, more of the kind of environment and more of the buildings and stuff. But yeah, having the 23mm lens for that scene was a good fit. And this is a focal length that I used to basically be locked into when I had the X100V and then the X100VI. So it's nice to go back to it. It feels quite natural. But I don't know, at the moment I'm just sort of feeling like I do want to have a wider prime lens. I just need to buy one at this point. So maybe that will come in a future video soon. But yeah, I'm going to carry on, see what else I can get.